such an asshole.
Good evening, Aaron. When you have the time, I'd like to request a review of this article. Vox Media. So like Vox, nothing permanently goes bankrupt. They always come out of bankruptcy like the fucking undead zombies that they are. And they're back and they're much more polite. They're not just a bunch of brown journalist whores. I think they're trying to actually go somewhat straight. I'm just like, you're still like, is BuzzFeed still around? Vox Media decided they would answer listeners' questions on the dating market, and they answered a young man in this one. They also gave advice to a young woman as well, but it was the usual drivel we've all heard. What makes the response kind of interesting is they went to a men's group for advice for this younger guy. What? Oh, it only took 30, 40 fucking years. Now you abandoned popular leftist socialist feminist thing. And now you're like, well, there's another side to the story. If only there was a profession that would consider both sides of the story and would report it to the public in a fair and unbalanced way. The first third of the coach's advice sounded reasonable, and then he went fully into mid-1990s pop psychology. At least Vox admits in the article that dating apps have become shitified right at the top of the article. Let me know the price as you can. Also, Vox has a weird hybrid paywall in place. I have the article in PDF that I can send to you as needed if you get blocked by it. Thanks and have a good evening in the Northern Command, and hope you get to see the lunar eclipse. And he's down in Oklahoma. So he has it here. Let's see if this pops up. Get rid of this. All right. Oh, it's just running. Oh, God, how much is this slowing my computer down? And the title, Can Men Get Better at Okay. I know this isn't your request. Let me point something else. Let's all stand back now. Let's go wookie with our eyes and look at it with a new set of eyes. Can men get better at dating? You will notice the premise, the unconscious, just presumed premise is what do men got to do? And I don't mean to sound like some feminist from the 70s where it's always women's fault. No, that's not my point. My point is, right off the bat, can men get better at dating? Dude, when do we see half the articles written about the other half, mathematically the other half, like what can women do? Have you thought about that? Every social media, every TikTok, everything, fake or not, it's always, well, men this and men, da. When does the other half get agency and responsibility? When do we say, well, you have to do something, or there's actions you could take? Already I'm in a pistol. Already I feel the tip of that ill-lubed dildo prodding my little puckered butthole. Dating coach of men on the state of relationships. Dating is tough, and for many single, straight young men, it can feel downright hopeless. As a man in his mid-30s, I could attest to this. When I was younger, meeting a potential partner felt so accessible. In school, it was easy to meet women your age who have similar interests and hobbies because you're in the same classes and extracurriculars. Then in my mid-20s, right around the time I was embarking on my new career away from home, dating apps hit the scene, making it easier than ever to swipe, meet people, and go on dates. But in the years since, dating apps have become shitified. He says it. Good for you. This is Hadi Mawajda. Hadi Mawajda. You've got to pay Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge for higher profile visibility and to see your potential matches. Well, you do, sir. What more do men need to do? Right? He's going through all the stuff men have to do. 3 freaking apps paying for it all. What do men need to do now? What do men need to do? What do men need to do? What are men doing? Are men doing enough? What should men do? What can men do different? How about when we've done it enough? We're going home, man. We're calling it a night. I know this article or the idea, well, what can I do? Because you're you. Whether you were male or female, you're you. What is within my power to achieve the result? That is a very logical and healthy question to ask. But always ask, well, what are they asking the other people to do? What can I do to get a job? What are corporations doing to make it easier for you to get a job? Right? I'm not saying the world's got to bend your will, but there is this bias that you, the individual. It's all your responsibility, and society and other people have no responsibilities whatsoever. You have to unlock this, you have to untie the Gordian knot. Show me, I want a year where you're not asking men to do anything. I want a year where you just say, okay, we've given you plenty of homework to do. Now we're going to go focus on women. Now we're going to focus on society. It's a perpetual addition of hoops to jump through. Well, I jumped through all those other hoops. Well, here's 1,001 first hoop to jump through. Now here's the 1,002nd hoop to jump. But now do I get no? Oh, well, what are you doing recent? Why just jump through 1,002 hoops? Well, I mean, would you want to do something, right? What are you asking the girls to do? Well, they just exist. Oh. On top of that, we had a global pandemic that allowed folks like me to work remotely, but also removed a lot of the daily social interactions that could eventually lead to relationships, not at work, right? So when a 20-something Vox reader and podcast listener told me over the phone that he too was struggling to date, I got to digging to find out why and what could be done about it. Have you not seen the past 20 years of our work? It eventually led me to Charlie McKeever, who calls himself the happy man coach. All right, just got to tell you right now, I don't trust anyone who calls himself a coach. Well, the only one I'd say is Coach Greg Adams, because he did it long ago. Oh, I don't know who you are, Mr. McKeever. I wish you well, but I'm not trusting nobody calling themselves coach. Coach is like motivational speaker, unemployed, couldn't find a real job. That's usually what it is. Aaron, he could be a very successful. You're right. I just haven't heard of this guy. McKeever works with men one-on-one in Austin, Texas, and in addition to organizing retreats and weekly meetups to troubleshoot men's datings and relationship troubles and their broader vulnerability issues. You guys see the lens I'm looking at this? Organizing retreats and weekly meetups to troubleshoot men's datings and relationships troubles and their broader vulnerability issues. Not now. It gets to the whole thing. Maybe it's not you, it's society, right? It's not the individual, it's society that has the problem. You'll drive yourself mad. It's not that you're trying to perfectly optimize and make no mistakes. You'll drive yourself mad solving a problem you misdiagnosed. He invited me to one such gathering at a bar called The Water Tank, where I met some of McKeever's clients. I was blown away by how self-aware and enlightened they were. You could call me a dating coach, but I would call myself a confidence coach. Oh. McKeever explained, that's important for dating, it's important for relationships, and it's important for life. He's not wrong. So I help men own themselves to get to know who they are, to reclaim themselves in their life. The guys in McKeever's group were realistic about how men like themselves could struggle to pursue relationships. Steve, a man who dated aimlessly for years but recently found a partner, told me about a recent conversation with his friend. My friend was talking about, I want to manifest a relationship. Oh my God. Oh, single moms are the worst things that's ever happened to this country. He was not raised by a father. Friend of mine was talking, I want to manifest a relationship. And that basically meant to them, I want to wish for this to happen. And they thought that that was going to actually work, said Steve, whose last name is being withheld so he can speak freely about his relationships. And I was like, well, that's not going to work. You have to be like, I want this. I'm going to take action by doing that and go do it. It's like action. It's like an action-oriented thing. I think we know that. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's gotten so bad. Men are now saying, I want to manifest things. Maybe they're starting to believe in astrology. McKeever shared some of his insights with the host of Vox Explain It to Me podcast, John fucking moronic name, Hill. Read an excerpt of their conversation, edited for length of clarity below, and listened to Explain It to Me on Apple Podcasts. What kind of men do you coach, and what are some of the general issues they're having with dating and romantic relationships? In general, men are very feeling. What? In general, men are very feeling. We're also very mission-oriented, very singularly focused, and we like to succeed. We don't want to fail. I'm a big fan of Alison Armstrong's research, and in it she says that a man doesn't want to do something that he doesn't think has a high probability of success. Well, yeah, it's doesn't want to waste his time. So he's going to only do the things that he thinks are worth it, right? At some point, he has to learn that he needs to be himself and be who he enjoys being in his life and then do things from that place, right? Okay, this is correct. Focusing on yourself, doing it as a happy, whole, contented person. And then he'll see things from a perspective of abundance and not from a place of scarcity and lack, which is where we come from when we think that we need somebody. We need a person's approval. We need their acceptance in order to be okay. And if we can only be okay if we have it, then we're really in a very precarious place. Loving yourself is all well and good, but what do you say to a man who's doing the work? They love themselves, but they're still looking for their person. That's totally legit. And there would have been a time that I would have eye rolled at all this too. But this work doesn't come down to magic. There's no secret. It's really very logical. When I'm independent and when I'm dependent on something outside of me, then I'm going to feel very powerless. I'm going to feel very choiceless. I'm going to feel very victimized by the other person. And that's just not a great place to be. It's not a great place to live. One thing I hear from men quite frequently is the word intimacy. They talk about intimacy. Just call it sex. They talk about connection. The thing that we don't know, that we don't realize, is that intimacy is not just sex. Oh, it isn't? At the end of the day, that what we really want, and this is the part that men are kind of confused about, is that we really want to be seen. We really want to be heard. We really want to be understood. I'll go with that. We're not just sex toys, despite what women think. That's why you have the girlfriend experience is more expensive than the sex experience over in Vegas. The interesting thing about intimacy and being seen and being heard, being understood, is that we're in this place where we're protecting ourselves, where we're trying to get something from somebody, the thing that we think that we don't have, then we actually subvert that connection. Not wrong. Not wrong. You got to put yourself first. You have to have a life. You have to have opportunity costs. You got to get your life so good that if somebody, anyone, female or not, wants to be part of it, like, hey, yeah, you better. I got shit going on, man. Like me, I'm bacheloring it out here in South Dakota. I don't wake up, oh, my girlfriend's not here. I got shit to do. I got shit going on, man. I'm like, oh, it'd be nice if there was a girl here. It's kind of like, oh, no one's here. Oh, it's quiet. Have a coffee. Feel choiceless. How would you advise a young man who is not comfortable with approaching a woman in real life? Maybe because they worry they will come off as creepy or cringe. If we believe that it's not okay to be ourselves, that it's not okay to bother somebody, not okay to approach somebody, that it's cringe, that it's weird, that's whatever, then we're going to disengage. We're going to disconnect. We're going to avoid, because if the idea of walking up to somebody, talking to them is painful, then we're going to avoid it. We're not going to want to engage in that. This is where men's work comes in. If I'm living my life from the outside in and not inside out, then I'm going to say to myself, it's not okay for me to go up and talk to that person because I can only be this and I can't be that. But what we're really wanting, what we're really walking around hungry for, desperate for, is acceptance. No, okay. This is a little wooey wowie woo. He's right. And I'm impressed that Vox reached out. I'm also impressed with the author. He seems a little bit more empirical. But if we don't accept ourselves first, if we don't say it's okay to be me, then we're never going to believe that it's going to be okay to go up and talk to somebody and share ourselves with somebody. And that was the article. Yeah, it did get a little bit all that. It's an okay. I thought it would be a little bit more. Yeah, this and that. That's why I like data. It cuts through all the wooey why woo bullshit. And like, here's the numbers. I just put a video out. I think it's the one before this. The microeconomic effects of rejection on the decision to date, the decision to ask someone out. And what I found, roughly, there's a 40% drop chance. Every time you're rejected by, well, I didn't ask about women, really ask about guys. It was men asking out women. Every time a guy asks out a girl and she rejects him, that negative event decreases the chance of you doing that again by 40%. And then I did the math. And by the time you're on your fourth or fifth rejection, which is a very common, that's like, I would say the majority of instances, you're rejected 4 to 5 times before you get a date. You're down to being 10%, if not down to 1%, I believe. No, 9 times you're down to 1%. 5 times you're down to 10, or 4 times you're down to 10%. Doesn't take that many rejections for you to swear off the behavior entirely. But I found the data where there were actual less propensity, how much less likely. They had data on it that I found through Grok. That, I think, contributes more and makes things very clear. Yes, find your inner self and become the best version of you could possibly be. And it's not wrong. It's just, what is it? Vox is about 15 years late to the conversation. I'm sure if we go through Vox's articles, there was a bunch of anti-red pill, anti-male shit. Now here we are. Oh, wow. Okay, men have gotten issues. I do not wish Kiever, the dating coach, ill will. I wish he makes money. I wish he keeps helping men out. And maybe this is how bad a state a lot of men are, that they're going, but man, that seems some wishy-washy bullshit. It's true, but we really need to have a cuddle session here. Go ask that girl out. But I don't know. Shut the fuck up and go ask her out. Could you imagine me as like a infield dating coach? Go ask her out. Why? Motherfucker. I'm going to keep giving you a fucking Charlie horse in the same spot until you go ask that girl out. We're not doing, oh, you got to know the inner self and da-da-da. Like, yeah, look, here's the deal. You're a lazy piece of shit. You got no life. You think having a girl will give you a purpose and meaning in life. No, you're just lazy. Now, you need to go build a life before you die. All right? Maximize your life so you have a good life without anyone else in it. And then when you come back an actual fuckable, valuable, accomplished man, now go start asking out the girls to see what happens. There. Am I too impatient? Oh, let's go to the super chats. To the chickens. I don't think we can. At what point do we just lose that social skill altogether? You don't think we can? What is the mainstream media considering men? I don't think we can. At what point do we lose that social skill altogether? No, if you're talking about, can you just go up and ask a girl out? Yes, you can. You always will be able to. At what point do we just lose that social skill altogether? You will relearn it. It's fine. We lost this a bit. It's not going to be that hard. It's not like a science, guys. You just like, hey, how you doing? You're cute. You single? Do you want to go out? Cool. No? Yes? All right. Well, meet me at the coffee shop at this time. My truth. The king. Men need to, mode 1, be impressive and selfish. You need to take care of yourself. I'll say it's not even impressive or selfish. What it is, it's economics. Again, I know Cappy refers to economics. Just to make food, clothing, and shelter right now, guys, and to save up enough money so that you have a little bit of an emergency fund and you got enough money saved away for retirement, that should take the majority of your time. You need to be on that shit taking care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't date. And in that challenging, I hate to use this word, journey, as you go through that actual journey, not that I'm in my head and I read things and I smelled some candles, kind of a female journey, like a no joke hero's journey. You become an actual strong, independent man, which you're going to have to. Then by default, it will be mode 1. It will be selfish, but you're not being mean to other people. Like, I got shit to work on, man. And then you come back, all of a sudden, oh, you own some property. Oh, you got a profession, a daytime job. Oh, you have a side gig or some hobbies. That's fair. Oh, you could fix your own car. That's an easier sell to a girl at a bar than, I need you to complete me. Ass bucket, $2. What about teacher, coach, Governor Timmy Waltz? That guy. Dude, the way his kids came out, you know that he's a Democrat. He's not really, he's like the perfect Minnesota man. Even though he was born and raised in Nebraska, Tim Waltz is like the perfect Minnesota man. Like just a fucking putz. A fucking putz. Ass bucket, $2. Power walking life coach, Mr. Aaron Clary, MBA, bro. No, I don't want to be a life coach. I don't. If I am, it's only by accident. And you got to admit, I'm a pissed off coach. Fuck seeds, $5. That's all he has to say. Nothing. Macan, Tetsuo, 7 Canadian. Westman worry about how to get girls at the same time as Polish. I can be drafted and fight not our war. From third Lev of Maslow's hierarchy of needs down to oblivion. Yeah, I know men are horny, but man, their small head really blinds them to tremendous obligations and threats and work that has to be done. A lot of reason younger men, and not even so younger men, are poor is because you ignored these important things because you're always trying to get laid. You're always going to the nightclubs, you're always spending money on this, you're always trying to get a car. Like, no, dude, you need to. I got mold in my basement. Like, yeah, you're setting all your dating aside. Why do you got mold in your basement? Drain the water away. Go treat that shit with Kills. Get some airflow in there. Put in a fan. That's more important. But peen might get touched. No. Black lung. No, you don't want that. Mr. Nominate, 10 generous dollars. Great last few videos. Enjoying them while assembling my third 3D printer. Keep them coming. I got more. I got a list today. Today's quote my day off, so here I am doing videos, catching up on the ones I want to do. This is a request, actually, though. Piece of me wants to just go to the coffee store and sit, and then he's like, okay, that sounds great on paper, but what do? You just sit, right? And then inevitably, I'm like, well, I better scratch some notes or do something. End up looking at your phone. Everything ends up becoming work, and it's too cold to actually go do anything outside. But I'm exhausted physically. I've been hitting the gym very regularly, and doing hiking. I'm just physically tired. Like, I need to take a physical day off. Like, okay, go sit. Well, okay, I'll just look at the coffee. It's kind of like Captain or Major Winters. What was his name? Winters was the last name. In Band of Brothers, where they send him to France for some R&R, and he just sits by himself the entire time. And because his real family is at the front line. So then, he's just sitting there in the bathtub. Yeah, dude, if you're a guy, that's what's going to happen. Guarantee that's going to happen in your life, where you take off from work and you got to, and say your family isn't around or you're out of town or whatever, you just sit there. Oh, okay. Like, okay, this sure is great relaxing. Bored out of your fucking mind. Nonstop Dre, $2. Coach Greg Adam was an actual coach for women's basketball. Okay, see, so it's legit. He's not being irrational. Dre, $2. Cappy is a life coach, influencer, and too ahead of his time. I don't want to. None of those. I do not want to be any of those things. Do not want to be any of those things. All right, link below a couple books and works that would help you young men. I would say a little bit. I'm not saying Mr. McKeever's coaching course and camp doesn't help. I'm sure it does. I think it would help you to be informed about some numbers and statistics and to have some clear logic involved, and then also go take that camp and put that into your life. Link below, I have the book numbers analyzing the ROI and the pursuit of women. So you know what kind of statistics you're looking up against. And in knowing these statistics, you know exactly where the key things that you can have the largest statistical advantage if you work on those things. Hint, it's called the gym and asking out more women. I also have the menu, Life Without the Opposite Sex, not because you guys are going to be sexless and there will never be a woman in your life, but half the people are going to be forecasted not to be married. And all people will be lonely at some point in their life. So you need to figure out what to do during that time. And then I think the third one I have linked is A World Without Men. Is that it? World Without Men? Analysis of an all-female economy, or it might be Zero World Problems. But in either case, if you go and click on any of those, you'll see my Amazon books available, and there are many more, all generally around the realm of saving you money and personal financial management. And so reading those books, the ones I listed, will help you tremendously in your pursuit of women. I'll tell you this. Dude, don't be waiting around for the mainstream media and society to come around, turn around, and help you out. Look how lukewarm and tacit and just ooh. It took what 30 years for a relatively unknown, borderline bankrupt website to have I'd say a pro mail and empirical approach. So what 50 years from now, then the mainstream be like, oh, CBS, oh my God, did you know women are fat and men don't find that attractive? We'll all be dead by that time. Mr. Anonymous at $5. Same problem with me. Go home from work, I get bored and start project. Yeah, I mean, it's healthy to have that mentality. But to be perfectly honest, I look going forward. I don't mind working on projects. I that's a production and but you do need to rest. And my body keeps yelling at me like, we got to do nothing, man. And then so you go and you sit and you're like, God damn, like a whole day of doing nothing. Just your body's like, thank you, I needed the rest. The brain's like, this is fucking driving me nuts. This is why everyone should have a harem of big-titted redheads. Then I'd have something to do. Then I'd be relaxed. Everyone should get that. Why don't we have that at the stores? Why not? All right. Links to whatever it is below. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.